Trump is the bodyguard of Western civilization. Trump was elected to protect our families from the vengeful mob, releasing violent criminals from prison.
Local businesses across America who are under assault from riots, now facing the terrifying prospect of Joe Biden coming after everything we've built.
It's a horror film, really. They'll disarm you, empty the prisons, lock you in your home, and invite MS-13 to live next door. The police aren't coming when you call. Nightmares are becoming real. Cops killed, children shot, violence in our neighborhoods.
Look at what's happening in American cities. Crime, violence, and mob rule. Democrats refuse to denounce the mob, and their response to the chaos, defund the police. Democrats won't let you go to church, but they'll let you protest. Democrats won't let you go to work, but they'll let you riot. Democrats won't let you go to school, but they'll let you go loot.
Just weeks ago, you may have seen us defending our home as a mob of protesters descended on our neighborhood.
What you saw happen to us could just as easily happen to any of you who are watching from quiet neighborhoods.
Anarchy and chaos on our streets. Out of control mob you saw at our house. These radicals are not content with marching in the streets. They want to take over.
They're not satisfied with spreading the chaos and violence into our communities. They want to abolish the suburbs altogether, bring crime, lawlessness, and low-quality apartments into now thriving suburban neighborhoods. No matter where you live, your family will not be safe. We don't have basic safety and security in our communities.
The mob will try to destroy you.
Rioters must not be allowed to destroy our cities. Just take a look at California. The Democrats turned it into a land of discarded heroin needles in parks, riots in streets.
A party that wants to burn down the foundations of our country to the ground. There won't be an America to leave to our children and grandchildren.
President Trump, he's fighting the forces of anarchy and communism.
It's so tragic to see so much of the Democratic Party turning a blind eye towards riots and rage. Lives are being ruined and stolen by the violence on our streets, anarchy and anger.
You're not allowed to go to church, but mass chaos in the streets gets a pass. Rioting, looting, and vandalism. Or, in the words of Biden and the Democrats, peaceful protesting. Anarchists have been flooding our streets, small businesses being torched by mobs. Violence in your country, in your communities, and in your homes. When we dial 911, we don't want it going to voicemail.
This is a taste of Biden's America. I mean, the rioting, the crime.
Burning our cities.
A dark road of chaos.
Anarchists mindlessly tear up American cities while attacking police and innocent bystanders. An all-out assault on Western civilization.
Stop the violence and looting. Donald wants to keep your family safe.
Democrat-run cities across this country are being overrun by violent mobs. Wild and furious passions worse than savage mobs. Increasing disregard for the rule of law. Property destroyed, families attacked, lives threatened or even taken away. Violence is rampant. Looting, chaos, destruction, and murder.
If the Democrats had their way, they would keep you locked in your house, protest, riots, and looting in the streets.
Heroism is rebuilding our communities, not destroying them.
Her store was vandalized and looted.
The violence and bloodshed we are seeing isn't happening by chance. Kamala Harris pushed to further restrict police and make our American communities even more dangerous than they already are. Chaos results, shootings, murders, looting and rioting occur unabated.
Mobs torched our cities, lawlessness supported by the radical left.
Violent mobs.
Violence and chaos in the streets of our major cities. Rioting and looting. Violence and chaos engulfing cities across this country. The violence in America's cities. The hard truth is, you won't be safe in Joe Biden's America.
Defunding law enforcement as lawlessness abounds.
Lawless destruction.
This nightmare we are witnessing in our cities. Mayhem, violence and destruction, devastation and chaos.
Senseless and destructive violence.
We are staring down the barrel of a public safety disaster. Democratic politicians have surrendered our streets. The violence and chaos we're seeing now isn't a side effect. It's actually the goal. I've never seen our streets go this bad so quickly. Running in fear of the mob in the street, rioting and looting. You won't be safe in Joe Biden's America. No safety, no justice, and no peace.
Murders, shootings, and violent crime are increasing at percentages unheard of in the past. The return of rioting and looting. During riots, the riot is rioting. How did we get overwhelmed by crime so quickly? Pro-criminal anti-police socialist policies. Unprecedented wave of lawlessness, Black Lives Matter and Antifa sprang into action. Vicious, brutal riots. Businesses were burned and crushed, people beaten, shot and killed, police officers routinely assaulted, badly beaten, and occasionally murdered. Continuous riots in Democratic cities gives you a good view of the future under Biden. Homicides, rioting and looting. Vote for Biden and the Democrats creates the risk that you will bring this lawlessness to your city, to your town, to your suburb.
Violent anarchists and agitators and criminals who threaten our citizens. If the left gains power, they will demolish the suburbs, immediately releasing 400,000 criminals onto the streets and into your neighborhoods. No one will be safe in Biden's America. Mob rule, rioting, looting, arson, and violence. There is violence and danger in the streets. The anarchists, the rioters and criminals spreading mayhem. Left-wing anarchy and mayhem. Vandals, arsonists, anarchists, looters and rioters, or as the Democrats would call them, peaceful protesters. The Democrat Party wants to stand with anarchists, agitators, rioters, looters, and flag burners. The top 10 most dangerous cities in the country are run by Democrats. If the radical left takes power, they will apply their disastrous policies to every city, town, and suburb in America. Just imagine if the so-called peaceful demonstrators in the streets were in charge of every lever of power in the U.S. government. Just think of that.